Greetings, family. This is Kyle Dixon here again for another post for Women's History Month. I wanted to, again, encourage you all to do the same, again, because women don't get enough promotion, don't get enough shine, don't get enough recognition. And these are the women that have made a positive impact on my life outside of my mother and the women in my own family. But I want to recognize this woman here, and I'm a huge fan of hers. She's an excellent writer, and that is Octavia Butler. So Octavia Butler was born in 1947 in Pasadena, California, in a relatively integrated city. And she was born to a mom who was a housemaid, and her father was a shoe shine person. Unfortunately, her father died around age 7. So she was raised by her mother and her mother's mother, her maternal grandmother, who was like a strict church-going woman. And unfortunately, as a child, she was heavily introverted and often bullied by other kids. So she would spend a lot of time at the Pasadena Public Library and read books for hours and hours. And that's even despite her having dyslexia, right? So from there, around 10, she saw this movie, like this B movie, like A Devil Girl from Mars or something like that. And she felt that she could write a better story. So she went to her mother and urged her mother to buy a typewriter so that she could start creating her own stories. And even while asking for the typewriter, she had an aunt, which I guess she didn't mean to be negative, but she said, you know, Negroes can't write, or Negroes can't be writers. So despite that, you know, she kept writing, she kept going. So she graduated from high school, she went to one of the local community colleges, and while there, is doing the Black Power movement. So one of her classmates was in class one day and was basically being very strong, opinionated about African Americans all and being subservient to white folks. And she said that was like the catalyst for one of her most best-selling novels, Kindred, which I'll get into later. But she was starting to work on the genesis of what would become Kindred later on. But she ended up graduating with associates in history. And after that, she started working odd jobs. Her mom wanted her to be a secretary to have a steady income, but she wanted to be able to work a job where she could be up at 2, 3 in the morning working on her writing craft. She really loved writing. And eventually, she went to this writer's workshop, I think around like 69, went to the sci-fi writer's workshop where this guy, what's his name? By the name of Ellison, I think Hardy Ellison, he's one of the top sci-fi writers at the time. And he noticed her work and decided to, and other people in the workshop too, and encouraged her to write. So after about a year after that, she won a writer's fiction contest, and she began to start to write her Pattern Master series. So a Pattern Master series is one of the series that I came upon her first. One of the first books, Wild Seed, which actually came later, like around 1980. That's the first one I read. Excellent book. But it's the Pattern Master series about these folks who basically use their minds in order to control their environments and other people. And there's this character named Doro who like is like telekinetic, vampire / parasite. It was really interesting. I mean, it really draws you in, and a lot of her characters definitely are women of color, like our protagonists. And depending on what the setting is, it could be African Americans, whites, multi-ethnic, depending on which story she's telling. But after that, she got a number of awards. She got award the Hugo Award, the Locust Award, and the Sci-Fi Chronicles Award for a novella, Bloodchild. Right. So as she's writing stories, she's like writing other stories or has ideas for other stories. So like the next 5 years, like that's pretty much what she does. She does with the Patternist series, which is Pattern Master, Mind of My Mind, and Survivor. And then later, as I told you, the book that I first recognized her was Wild Seed, and then Clay's Ark in '84. So yeah, so from there, she begins to go into the trilogy series, the Xenogenesis trilogy. And before she's writing that, she actually travels to the Amazon and the Andes to do research. And the Xenogenesis series titles are Dawn, Adulthood Rights, and Imago, I think it is. I read Dawn a while ago. Really good, really good. I mean, she's very descriptive in her environments. She really lets you submerge your mind and just like your whole thinking about the characters in these environments. Like she creates whole worlds, creates whole societies. So I mean, you really get drenched into the characters and the environment and the settings, and just how they interact with the other characters within the story, and also the outside forces that play a part in the characters' decisions. It's just really great, like thorough writing. And she even commented that a lot of her kind of dedicated readers have been like black readers, black readers, feminists, and like sci-fi fans. So yeah, she's definitely one of those folks that you definitely need to go do research on. She was the first woman to win the MacArthur Award. The first sci-fi writer to win the MacArthur's Award, which is a huge honor. That was in '95. So Octavia Butler, her themes have been, again, just a variation. Her best-selling book, Kindred, let me give you a brief backstory on that. So her best-selling story, Kindred, is based on this girl named Dana in 1976 Los Angeles. She travels back to early 19th century Maryland, where she meets her ancestors, a slave owner and one of her relatives, a black woman. So, I mean, what can I say about this woman? In 2005, she received an award from Chicago State, school I attended, Chicago State University. They accepted her into the International Black Writers Hall of Fame at Chicago State. So that's big up for them. And unfortunately, she passed away in 2006 due to a head injury. She had been writing and suffering, they said, from a little bit of high blood pressure. And the medication made her somewhat depressed. But she still wrote. She still did writers' workshops. She still was like working on things. So even though on her timely death, she was in her 50s, but her legacy lives on. And one of the things that I almost forgot to mention is when she was writing her journal in college, she would write words like millions of people will read my books, or I want to have better health care for my mother and me. I want to give black boys the power to think beyond their horizon. So this is a woman who was very much a forward thinker and a pioneer in the literary world, and also in her purpose or in her writing. So again, Octavia Butler, definitely check out her work. You will not be disappointed. I know they're working on some movie adaptations for some of her work. Definitely, I'll be one of the first people in line for that, for sure. So thank you, family, for spending time with me. I encourage you to do the same. Post women that inspire you, that have given your life that much more inspiration. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.